I decided to go a more traditional way of education, and instead of jumping straight into practice, I started learning terminology. It actually didn't turn out to be boring. There are 18 main terms in total. Some of them are easy and straightforward, but some of them don't mean what you think they are. I've learned everything on Unreal Engine documentation website, which is really amazing. Check out the link in the description. And I didn't just read through everything. I sent the information to ChatGPT and asked it to test me. It was very helpful. I felt like I was in a classroom and could ask questions about anything, anytime. Alright, so the first one is pretty easy. It's project. It's the big folder where all the stuff for your video game lives. It has subfolders like blueprints and materials, which we will learn about later in this video. And it also has a special file which helps you open, create or save your game project. Instead of typing lines of code, you use this drag and drop node-based interface, which is called Blueprint. Each node is like a mini instruction for the game. You connect these nodes to tell the game what to do, like making a character jump or shoot. Think of it like creating a flowchart that the game follows. It is super user-friendly and perfect if you're not a coding wizard. When you load something in Unreal Engine like a material or a picture, it becomes a subclass of an object, which gives it basic functionality so that you can do things with it. A class defines behaviors and properties of actors or objects. For example, if you're making a zombie game, a class is like the instruction or manual for creating that zombie. It'll specify what the zombie looks like, how it moves, and how it interacts with the player. An actor is basically anything you can put into your game's world. In comparison to objects, which are also basically anything, they have extra capabilities like being able to be placed in a game world and interacted with. So basically all actors are objects, but not all objects are actors. Casting. I had a lot of trouble understanding this one. It's basically treating an actor of a specific class as another class. For example, let's say there is a fire area in your game, and when you enter that area, you have to start losing health. So when you enter the fire area, casting would check if this area a fire area class. If it is, then the game logic could apply the burning effect to the player, causing them to lose health. I hope that made sense. To give abilities to your character or an actor, you have to give it a component. They're basically a piece of functionality. Components cannot exist on their own, they always need an actor. Pawns are avatars or personas in the game. They are controlled by a player or game's AI. For example, you can drive a car. The car is the avatar that is being controlled by you, so it means it is possessed, or an NPC that is controlled by AI. When an avatar or persona are not controlled either by the player or AI, it means that it is unpossessed. Characters are a subclass of pawn, designed to specifically represent player characters. They come with built-in features like bipedal movement controls, collision setup, and input bindings. In order for the game to see what buttons you press, it needs a player controller class. It translates player input into game interactions and possesses a pawn or a character. AI controllers control non-player characters, NPCs, within the game, guiding their behavior. They possess a pawn to represent an NPC, similar to how player controller possesses a pawn or character for player representation. A game mode is a set of rules and structure for the game. For example, when you play Skyrim and switch to survival mode, it determines how the environment treats you. It also adds new functionality such as hunger, and new feature such as eating in order to survive. Game state is like a scoreboard that keeps track of various game-related data. Current scores of all players, whether the match has started or ended, the number of NPCs in the game based on the player count. In a multiplayer setup, this information is shared across all players to ensure everyone's on the same page regarding the game's current state. A brush in an Unreal Engine is like a 3D shape or mold, like a cube or sphere, that you can place in your game level to create the structure of the world. It's like having a set of building blocks to shape your game environment. You can use these brushes to quickly sketch out the layout of a level, creating walls, floors, and other structural elements. A volume is like an invisible 3D space that can trigger certain effects or behaviors when something enters it. For example, in a fantasy game, a blocking volume could be an invisible barrier that prevents players from falling off a floating island. Or a trigger volume could activate a hidden trap or open a secret door when a player steps onto it. A level is a defined gameplay area within your game. It holds all things a player can interact with or see, like characters, objects, and the surroundings. Unreal Engine, each level is saved as a separate file, and within the editor, you can create, modify, and transition between levels to structure your game's world and experiences. Finally, a world in Unreal Engine encompasses all the levels that make up your game. It's like a container that helps manage the loading of different levels and the creation of dynamic actors. In other words, items or characters that can change or move. It's a way to organize and manage all the pieces of your game's environment, ensuring things flow smoothly as the players move through different scenes or areas in your game. Now, I wouldn't say that I'm now fluent in all of those terms, but I have a pretty solid understanding of how even things work in Unreal Engine and how games are created. So I think it's a very good way to start learning something. I feel pretty confident about going and doing some projects now, like from tutorials, because I will actually understand what the person is saying and what each thing is doing. So I hope that this video also helped you to understand the basic terms. Feel free to go do some projects now. I'm pretty sure you will understand things better now. Bye.